If you're looking to get into the holiday spirit with your comics this season, Marvel has some great issues, holiday specials, and one-shots. I've read through a bunch of them, and these are the ones that I think are great and totally worth checking out. Santa Claus vs. the Illuminati by Brian Reed and Val Semeiks in Marvel Holiday Special 2009 is a short 2-page story where we find Santa needing help to deliver presents because his reindeer turned out to be Skrulls. The Illuminati give up their Infinity Stones to allow Santa to use the Infinity Gauntlet to help him deliver presents. However, things go bad once he puts the Infinity Gauntlet on. This causes the Illuminati to fight Santa to get the Infinity Gauntlet back, and thanks to a well-placed snowball thrown by Namor, they're able to get the Infinity Gauntlet back, but that still doesn't solve the problem for Santa being able to deliver his presents. However, weirdly enough, Iron Man has some robotic reindeer ready for Santa to use, and I don't know why that wasn't the first option to begin with. The next story is a specific Christmas issue titled Demon in Uncanny X-Men number 143 by John Byrne and Chris Claremont. Kitty Pryde is one of the newest X-Men and finds herself all alone at the X-Mansion after everyone else leaves to go their own way for the holiday. Unfortunately, a Nagarai alien demon escapes their dimension and comes to attack the X-Men. As you can imagine, Kitty has one heck of a time trying to evade and fight for her life against this alien demon and eventually defeats it all by herself. However, she does wreck pretty much the entire mansion as well as the Blackbird in the process. From one X-Men story to the next, this story is from the first ever Marvel Holiday Special in 1991 titled A Miracle a Few Blocks Down from 34th Street, written by Scott Lobdell with artists Dave Cockrum and Joe Rubenstein. While getting ready for Christmas, the X-Men are alerted to a mutant at a local mall. When they go to check it out, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants are also there looking for that same mutant. They, of course, end up fighting each other, and before we know it, the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants are shrunk down into action figures by Santa Claus. It turns out that Santa Claus was the mutant that everyone was looking for. He then erases the X-Men memory and transports them to Rockefeller Center, where they were going to go to meet up with Scott and Jean Grey, and this actually places them in a panel from Uncanny X-Men 98. This takes us to another holiday Marvel classic story titled Losing the Blues by Greg Wright, found in Marvel Holiday Special 1994. This story features one of Marvel's most prominent Jewish characters, Ben Grimm, aka The Thing. In this story, Ben meets a young girl who also celebrates Hanukkah but despises the holiday season because of all the bad things that it brings out in people. In an effort to show her that there's still good in people, Ben spends his entire time trying to show her that that's true. However, in all of his acts, it basically backfires on him, continuing to show the girl that pretty much there is no good during the holiday season. That is until her coat is stolen and she is given a coat by a homeless man, which restores her faith in humanity. A very classic Christmas tale. This brings us to a story that's not such a classic holiday tale. In Power Man and Iron Fist Sweet Christmas Annual Number 1 in 2016, written by David Walker, we find Power Man and Iron Fist doing some last-minute Christmas shopping for a specific toy. Unfortunately, this specific toy, which there are thousands of, along with their creator, turn into demons and Krampus respectively. Power Man and Iron Fist are helped by Jessica Drew and Damon Hellstrom. However, they are clearly struggling to defeat these little demons and Krampus. However, luckily for them, good old Saint Nick drops by and helps them defeat Krampus and the thousands of demons, saving New York from having a terrible Christmas. We're gonna stick to New York City for the next story titled Merry Christmas Kingpin, found in Daredevil issue number 253, written by Ann Nocenti and penciled by John Romita Jr. This issue essentially paints Daredevil as Santa and Kingpin as Scrooge, where we find Daredevil spending most of his time convincing a young kid named 8-Ball, who idolizes some thugs in the neighborhood, that bad people get punished and good people get rewarded. And for most of this issue, Kingpin is obsessed with bringing down Matt Murdock and of course makes his workers work on Christmas Eve, trying to force a real estate deal to go through. However, the people that he's making the deal with find that he's crazy for working on Christmas Eve and pretty much closes down the deal. This of course infuriates Kingpin, making him become even more obsessed with bringing down Matt Murdock, knowing that he has to bring down down his family, which is his community. The next two stories are my favorite holiday stories that I've read. The next one called Yes, Virginia, There Is a Santron. This is from Marvel Holiday Special 2005, written by Jeff Parker and Riley Brown, where we find Ultron disguised as a Santa crashing the Avengers holiday party at the Sanctum Sanctorum. At the beginning of the story, we find out that this Ultron was a defeated version of Ultron who was reprogrammed by an ex-Stark employee, Virgie Hanlon, who was made fun of when she was younger for believing in Santa and just wants there to be a Santa Claus in the real world. However, after reprogramming Ultron to be Santa, he vows to kill the Avengers. Once Ultron shows up at the party, he deems all of the Avengers to be naughty, sending out a neural pulse which causes mostly everyone to be in immense pain. A quick-thinking Spider-Man who heard Ultron's belly was hollow after Wonder Man's head hit it figured that he would eat a cookie. He took the electronic mistletoe from the party, hid it in a cookie, and fed it to Ultron, where once he ate it, Hank Pym was able to set off an electromagnetic pulse, therefore stopping Ultron. And this has to be my favorite all-time holiday story from Marvel, mainly because Doctor Doom's in it, but this is where we find Doctor Doom saving Christmas. Titled I'll Be Doomed for Christmas, found in What the number 10, written by Scott Lobdell and John Byrne. In this story, we find Doctor Doom minding his own business on Christmas Eve until an intruder alert goes off outside of his castle. It turns out that he caught Santa Claus in one of his traps and he's badly injured and cannot continue delivering presents. Santa Claus convinces Doctor Doom to deliver the rest of the presents by saying that he will fulfill Doctor Doom's deepest desire. Doom takes him up on this challenge. Of course, when in New York delivering presents to the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, they figure that he's plotting something terrible and an all-out fight breaks out between Doctor Doom, the Avengers, and the Fantastic Four. However, this fight happens to be in front of a hospital for sickly children who are confused as to why some superheroes are fighting Santa Claus. They all put their differences aside to make sure that these kids have the best Christmas possible. After Christmas and Santa is ready to leave Doom's castle, he says that he will maintain his promise and fulfill Doom's deepest desire, to which Doom says that he doesn't need it as he has something important already, which turns out to be a teddy bear that was given to him by a young girl at the hospital. Most of these stories are on Marvel Unlimited, so go ahead and check them out if you'd like. And if you want more Marvel content like this, consider hitting that like and subscribe button down below and check this video out.